Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, FPL Consult here, and today we're going to do the Game Week 3 Ultimate Wildcard Guide. So in this video, I'm going to cover everything related to wildcarding in Game Week 3. Hopefully you guys find it helpful. If you do, please help me out and give it a like, and also subscribe if you are new around here. Alright, so let's get straight into this video, and right now on the screen I have this rubric or this table that you can kind of see when are the possible wildcard opportunities within the first 16 game weeks. Now I say the first 16 game weeks because we do have to use our first wildcard before game week 16, right? And obviously we know after game week 16 there is unlimited transfers because of the World Cup, right? So essentially this first wildcard has to be used within game week 3 till game week 16 for those of you who haven't used it, of course, right? So the first window to actually use it is this game week, right? Game week 3, and there are the sell teams and also the buy teams that I'll be going into in a while, right? But if you take a look at the left side of the table, I kind of singled out the game weeks that there are actually good opportunities to use the the wildcard then, right? So game week 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13, and then 16. Right, so obviously there's an international break between game week 8 and 9, and that can obviously play into when we want a wildcard as well. Now the reason why I've showed this in this video is because even though we are wildcarding in game week 3, we do have to consider is there the opportunity cost of using it in other game weeks, right? Are there better game weeks that we can actually use? Now one way you can read this table is by identifying how heavily reliant you are on the sell teams and how little you own assets from the buy teams, right? So now let's take a look at game week 3, right, as an example, right? Aston Villa, Wolves, Newcastle, and Manchester United are sell teams, and it's obviously because they have a poor run of fixtures coming up, right? And you look over to the buy side, Brentford, West Ham, Crystal Palace, and Bournemouth have the best fixtures from game week 3 up till game week 16, right? So how heavily reliant are you on the sell teams, and how little assets do you own from the buy teams? And that can kind of give you an indication of when best to use your wildcard. So as for my team, right, I'm currently heavily reliant on City, Arsenal, and Liverpool. And if you take a look, game week 9 seems to be the best time that I can use my wildcard, right? Because Manchester City, Arsenal, and Liverpool are all in the sell region there. So I'm looking at using my wildcard in game week 9, right, which also comes after the international break, so it's a good time to kind of use it and take advantage of the additional information that we can get from the news that comes after international break, whether there are injured players, etc. Right, so, but obviously those of you with dire situations, and also those of you who really need to use your wildcard in game week 3, right, there's every chance that game week 3 can be a good time to use it as well, right? As I've identified here, Aston Villa, Wolves, Newcastle, and Manchester United are all assets that should be sold this game week, right? And if you take a look at the buy side, we'll go into the fixtures of these teams later on in the next segment. But Brentford, West Ham, Crystal Palace, and Bournemouth have a really good run coming up, right, from game week 3 up to game week 16. So that's what I'll be targeting if in this particular wildcard video, right? But if you take a look on the whole, right, there's many chances for you to use your wildcard, and even in game week 16, the wildcard can function as a free hit chip, right? So that's really interesting, right? Kind of a different way, unorthodox way of using the wildcard. So there's definitely different opportunities and different ways we can play it. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys considered everything before using your wildcard in game week 3. So next up, let's take a look at the best game week 3 to game week 16 fixtures, right? Which teams have the best run of fixtures after we wildcard in game week 3, right? So it's Brentford, West Ham, and Bournemouth, right? But obviously we're not going to target all these teams. I'm just going to single out these 3 teams and kind of identify when are the best times to jump on them, given that they have the best set of fixtures from game week 3 to 16, right? We're still going to have our staples in our team, right? Like Trent Alexander-Arnold, there's Mo Salah, there's also Erling Haaland, right? These are probably staples that we still have to have in our team, right? Fixture-proof assets. But if we want to find some differentials, that's really going to help us, pull away from our mini-league rivals, right? Then Brentford, West Ham, and Bournemouth present really good opportunities if we can jump on them at the right time, right? So from game week 3 to game week 16, if you take a look at Brentford's fixtures, from game week 3 to game week 7, it's a whole run of green fixtures. They play Fulham, Everton, Crystal Palace, Leeds, and Southampton, right? And then if you take a look at the big picture, expanding up to game week 16, they only play Man City in game week 16, game week 12 they have Chelsea, and then Arsenal in game week 8. Those 3 games are their only tough fixtures from game week 3 up to game week 16. right? So that's really a good run of fixtures, and honestly, if you ask me, players like Ivan Toney, right, players like Pontus Jensen for the clean sheet, maybe Raya as well, you can keep them all the way up to game week 16 possibly, right? So if you take a look at West Ham's fixtures now, they play Tottenham and Chelsea in game week 5 and 6 respectively, right? And then Liverpool in game week 12, United in 14, and that's pretty much it, right? So I'll be looking to jump on players like Jarrod Bowen, or maybe Soufal as well, right, from game week 8, or maybe game week 7 even, right, where they play Newcastle and then they have Everton, Wolves, Fulham and Southampton. So good time to jump on West Ham would probably be game week 7 to game week 8, right? And then if you take a look at Bournemouth, right, after game week 4 when they play Liverpool, that's a really good run they have there after, right? No red fixtures at all. They play Wolves in game week 5, they're Forest, Brighton, Newcastle, Brentford, Leicester, Fulham, Southampton, West Ham, Tottenham, probably the only tough game for them within this whole run, and then thereafter Leeds and Everton. So I really like this set of fixtures for Bournemouth as well, and that actually gives us time as well, because if we are wildcarding in game week 3, we have and we don't buy the Bournemouth players, of course. We have from game week 3 to game week 4 to kind of assess which assets to jump on come game week 5, right? So given this whole set of fixtures for Bournemouth, I think there's really some opportunities to find some good differentials there. So all in all, these three teams do have the best set of fixtures. We need to find the right time to jump on them, and obviously at this point in time, I do feel like Ivan Toney, right, presents the best differential because of his game week 3 to 7 green fixtures there. So we're gonna look at our Wildcard 3 draft now, right, and we're gonna see how we're gonna fit Ivan Toney and also the rest of our players in this draft. Right guys, so a lot of information on this slide, so let's focus on the players first. Later on, I will get on to Fantasy Football Hub's predictions and ratings for this wildcard team, right? But this draft that I've come up with for game week 3, right, I've structured it around a 3-4-3 formation, and that's because I do want some flexibility in the front if I'm wildcarding in game week 3 to maybe upgrade Jesus to a Darwin, etc. Right, so that's why I've gone for a 3-4-3. Right, later on in the week, I will update this wildcard. I'll be posting an updated wildcard 3 draft, right? But either ways, for this draft for now, I've gone for a 3-4-3. We're going to go for Sanchez in goal because at this point in time, I don't really want to lock in a premium keeper, whether from Liverpool or Man City, and that's because I still do feel like the flexibility to have that third outfield player from either City or Liverpool is still essential. So that's why I've gone for Sanchez, right? And you may wonder why I haven't gone for Ramsdale, but that's because I have coverage in Zinchenko already. So moving on to defense, right, we have Zinchenko, Trent and Cancelo. Now Zinchenko, as I've said, he captures that Arsenal clean sheet run there that we can kind of get because they do have a good run of fixtures even up to game week 8, right? So from there on, after game week 8, it kind of gets bad for Arsenal. We can move him on. There are a lot of good options at 5 mil. Right, and then if you take a look at the other two defenders, Trent and Cancelo, to me, they are essential. Right, I've dropped James because I still do feel like Chelsea are a bit shaky at the back. Right, I will need some more assurance from James if I'm going to wildcard in game week 3 and bring him in. Right, I'm going to need a really good performance from him. Right, so in midfield, we have Martinelli, we have Bowen, Salah, and Dewsbury Hall. Now, Salah is an essential, right? So that's easy to have him in the team, right? Martinelli captures that Arsenal attacking threat, and he did perform really well in game week 1, right? That's why he is in the team still, and I still do feel at 6 mil or maybe 6.1 now because his price has risen. I feel like that is still the best value asset, right? 6 mil is a really a bargain for a good Arsenal asset, right? That kind of starts regularly as well. Right, so if you take a look at the other two options, there's Bowen and Dewsbury Hall. Now, Dewsbury Hall at 5 mil is kind of a really good option for the long run, right? After game week 3 onwards, they have a couple of tough fixtures, but stretching up to game week 16, that's a really good run for them still. And either ways, Dewsbury Hall at 5 mil is still a bargain because he starts every game, right, gets the odd assist, maybe an odd goal, right? In game week 1, he scored a really good goal against Brentford. We saw his quality as well. Who knows, this season he could pop off as well. So I really like him as a differential at 5 mil, really cheap as well. Now I've gone for Bowen so that we can capture that West Ham run of good fixtures from game week 3 to game week 16 as mentioned in the previous section, right? And Jarrod Bowen is a really good differential to go for because we saw his quality, and I do feel like with the threat of Scamacca coming in and also Antonio, who has started the season pretty well, I think he did pretty well in game week 1, right? Given these scenarios surrounding Bowen, I still do feel that West Ham will get kicking come game week 3 as well, right? If you take a look at the forward line, right, we have Haaland, Jesus, and Ivan Toney. Now, Haaland is an essential for me, right? At this point in time, every draft is probably going to have him, given Man City's good run, right? And that's why he's obviously going to be in this team for Wildcard 3. Now, Jesus, I still do feel like 8 mil, right? He presents a really good opportunity there to kind of capture those good run of fixtures and also maybe get some returns for us. Now, Jesus is also an important price point because he's 8 mil, right? It's a kind of an easy jump to Darwin as well. Now, Darwin is at 9 mil, right? So if we want to jump, we will have to kind of get someone else maybe downgraded to upgrade Jesus to Darwin. But either ways, I still do feel like holding that spot for Darwin is pretty good, right? And Jesus is 8 mil. Who knows, in the coming game weeks, he could do really well still, and then we can hop onto Darwin when the time is right. Right, now we have Ivan Toney, and as mentioned just now, Game Week 3 to Game Week 7 is just an insane run for him. I'm expecting a lot of returns from him as well. Now on the bench, we've gone for Ward, the only playing 4 mil keeper. There's Patterson and Williams, the playing 4 mil defenders as well. Now, either ways, the two of them can be rotated based on which good fixtures come into their run, right? And thereafter, we can sub them in. Now, Andreas is the best 4.5 mil bench fodder, I feel, and sometimes he can even have better fixtures than the starting 11, and we can actually start him because even though Fulham are the promoted team or one of the 3 promoted teams this season, I think they've started really well, right? We saw their performance against Liverpool. Andreas Pereira also plays very attackingly, so I do like that from him as well. Now, so this is the team, right? A 3-4-3 with all 4 players on the bench playing. Now let's take a look at Fantasy Football Hub's tool, right? So the link is in the description, right? If you guys want access to these ratings and point predictions, right? So if you're interested, go check that out, right? But basically what I've done is I've pre-calculated based on the tool, right, how this team can perform up till game week 9. Now, the team rating of 89% actually takes into account a number of game weeks, right? And it weights the closer game weeks, so game week 3, 4, 5, 6, right? It weights it higher than 7, 8, and 9, right? So the closer you are, the more important it is to have a better team, right? And obviously the case, right? So 89%, which is a really good team rating for this team. And in terms of the particular game week rating, so game week 3, right, that's 87%. So very good as well. Predicted points for game week 3 is 62, right? As mentioned in my previous videos as well, I still feel like any point, any predicted game week average of 60 and above is a good average, right? If we are able to score 60 points every game week, I willingly take it right now, right? We would end the season with a really good rank. So that's game week 3, right? But obviously if you're wildcarding, we want to consider the long run, right? We want to see how this team will perform over a longer period of time because we are using the chip now, right? We have to see how it's going to perform, and it has to be a good team that can last us. So game week 4, 89% rating, 71 predicted points, right? Next in game week 5, right, it's 86% rating, 65 predicted points, and so on so forth. So if you take a look at this whole predicted points list, there's only one game week where it falls below 60, and that's game week 8. But obviously that's pretty far, right? By then we would have made a few transfers. Now these predicted points are points predictions that are without transfers made. So can you imagine, without making transfers, these are the predictions you're getting. With the transfers that you're making, you can actually improve your score, right? So obviously as the game weeks go on, we would be making transfers to improve the team, right? But on the whole, looking at this Wildcard 3 team, I really like it, right? There's a lot of flexibility up front. We have the essentials, right? There's Salah, there's Trent, there's Cancelo, there's Haaland, right? There's also options to move off players, and the price ranges are really good, right? Let's say Bowen doesn't perform, we can drop him down to 8 mil as well, right? And as I mentioned just now, Jesus can be upgraded to Darwin. So all playing players on the bench as well, that's another thing, right? So I really like this team for game week 3, right? If I was wildcarding, I'm pretty sure I'll start off with this team and thereafter tinker a little bit more, right? And later on in the week, I will release an updated game week 3 wildcard draft, right? So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this whole video. I hope it helped you to kind of build your wildcard team, or at least get started, right? And for those of you who are intending to wildcard, do remember to kind of weigh the opportunity cost as well before you actually activate your wildcard and start tinkering about. But that's it for this video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please help me out and give it a like, and also subscribe if you are new around here. Do remember to check out Fantasy Football Hub if you want to. Link is in the description for 50% off, and I will see you guys in another video very soon. Bye bye.